Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. So in today's video, we are going to be talking about the latest on Hansi Flick and also talk about Barcelona's latest target, which is Rafael Leao. There's plenty to discuss for today's video. I know that right now we are going through a very difficult moment, but we will get through this. I know also that Barcelona are not at their very best and that we do have the right to express our emotions, but let's continue to move forward. Let's continue to support this team because man, do we need that right now. And then maybe, yes, we can start discussing how Barcelona actually play this season when this season is over, but there is no reason for us to put down this team in the middle of all these tensions. But Deco wanted to say something back on February 11th that did in a way take shots to Xavi Hernandez, and this is what Deco said: the new direction is crucial and the president agrees with me on this. A profound change is needed. There is a method that is exhausted. We have to find someone to break with the past once and for all and move towards a new paradigm. And this is crazy to hear by Deco because what he's basically saying is we need to change this Barcelona team. We have to go through a new direction. Everything that has been going on with Barcelona in the past year and a half, all of these ideas, all of these philosophies, they need to be scrapped. We have to change Barcelona for the better. It is the club before anybody else. And I can understand where Deco is coming from because when you see Barcelona and their latest results, look at how they barely beat Osasuna 1-0 at home, right? It was at home. And then we have been defeated by Athletic Club 4-2. We allowed 5 goals against Villarreal, and then we allowed 3 goals against Granada recently, about 2 or 3 days ago. After Barcelona had 8 days of rest, Barcelona allowed 3 goals against Granada at home in front of their fans, and we were acting like Barcelona were playing against Bayern Munich. We made Granada look like Bayern or Manchester City. That is how bad Barcelona is, especially defensively. And they want to act all exhausted. They want to act all tired and I can't do this. Oh, it's just so tiring, right? You want to act like that after 8 days of rest, after not playing a single game, after 8 days. And then they had the audacity after the match to say that we were just tired. There's a lot of games that we have to play and blah blah blah. I'm like, dude, what are you talking about? The last time you played a game was 8 days ago, and then you put out this disaster class against Granada 3-3. So of course Deco is going to be saying things like this, that we need a whole new change in direction. And so we can definitely see that Xavi has lost the trust from the players. Like, these players just don't understand what Xavi wants, and that there's just confusion. There is a lot of questioning, and just nothing is working with this Barcelona team at the moment. But I think that Barcelona can attack. I think that they can score great goals, but in everything else that's part of Barcelona's game, it is so fragile. It is so fragile. We're so loose and disconnected and slow in everything that we want to do. When we have to defend a corner kick, we're like, oh my god, I'm scared. When we have to defend a counterattack, they're like, oh my god, I'm scared. What's gonna happen? They get nervous, right? When they have to defend a 1v1, when it is either Koundé versus somebody else, or Frankie versus somebody else, or Araujo versus somebody else, or Kubarsi versus somebody else, or Lewandowski versus somebody else, they're like, oh my god, are we gonna win this 1v1 duel? And they just let the opposition go through them so easy. There's no intensity. When we have to play out from the back, they get nervous. They're like, oh my god, let's not lose the ball. Calma. Pass it there. Be careful. Don't play too direct. Don't play too fast because we might lose the ball, right? Because the first thing that we have to do is not lose the ball, right? They get nervous, and in that way, that is why so many Barcelona fans are like, dude, are you kidding me? Look at all those spaces that the opposition is leaving behind, and you guys don't even want to take advantage of that because you guys are so scared, so tense all the time, and you want to play so slow, and that is your excuse, is that you don't want to lose the ball. Oh my god, I'm so sorry for you guys, right? I am so sorry. I'm so sorry that you guys have to suffer through so much through these games, and you guys don't want to play with high intensity, with high directness, nothing. And they get so scared on creating 1v2s or any of even on the attack. As a matter of fact, let's talk about the attack. Every time we see Pedri and Koundé try to create something, or we see Frankie de Jong trying to create something with Lamine Yamal or whoever, any of those 1-2 scenarios, they're so slow on that. I feel like I'm watching their games in slow motion. I remember there was this pass that went to Koundé, and I was watching it with my father. My father was like, what the heck is this? Why is everything so slow? That final pass into the final third that we made on the right flank with Koundé making that run around the defense, right? Trying to make that overlapping run. It was so slow. It was on, you know how I don't even know how to explain it. It's like saying you go on 0.5 playback speed. I don't know if you guys know what that is, but it's super slow motion. Everything is slow motion. When you go watch a game in the Premier League, any game, any game in the Premier League, everything is just so much faster, so much faster. But with Barcelona, it's like, calma, we gotta play so slow. We can't lose the ball. We just gotta make sure everything is okay, and we can't play fast and irresponsible. Like, dude, you want to play like that when you're attacking? Really? If anything in the attack, it's the complete opposite. Go out there and take risk. Go do something, because there's a reason why the opposition scored 3 goals past you, is because they actually believe that they can beat you. So this mentality that these players have, it's a TikTok loser mentality. That is the best way that I can put it, because these players, all of these players, even with Lewandowski, who's 35 years old, want to make TikTok videos, trying to show everybody that they can dance and be funny, wearing these masks that make them look like thugs and think that they're all that. I'm like, dude, your guys' headspace it's in the wrong space. Put that space and energy and time into actually caring about where Barcelona is at, right? To actually care about where Barcelona should be next season, and that is in the Champions League. That is competing for La Liga. Because let me tell you, right now, in the way that Barcelona is going in, when we might not even make it into the top 4. They not might even make it into the top 4. Like, really think about that, because of the mentality of this team is just so low. Any team in La Liga, any team in the Bundesliga, any team in the Premier League, any team in the Serie A, any team in the MLS, Inter Miami, the Portland Timbers, any team right now can beat this Barcelona team because of their weak mentality. Barcelona is in 3rd place. There's a 5-point difference. 5-point difference between 3rd place and 5th place, which is Athletic Club. It is so easy for Barcelona to fall into 5th or 6th place. And you know what's so funny? The reason why I'm saying it's so easy is because Barcelona still have to play away from home against Athletic Club, away from home against Atletico Madrid, away from home against Real Madrid. You want me to keep going? Away from home against Girona. We have to play away from home against these teams that we see in the top 5. Athletic Club, Atletico Madrid, Real Madrid, and Girona. Yes, I believe that there is a high chance that Barcelona might not even make it into the top 4. And so, like, we might miss out on the Champions League next season. And when you lose out on the Champions League for the next season because you don't make it into the top 4, you lose money and you lose attractiveness. You lose attractiveness by not inviting more players and coaches to come into your team. The coaches and the players that are not associated with Barcelona, right, but that Barcelona want to bring in, they're going to be saying, oh, look, Barcelona's a great team, but they're not going to the Champions League next season. I don't want to be in a team that's in the Champions League in one season and then in the next season they're not. Like, if we want Kylian Mbappe, Leao, if we want Hansi Flick, if we want Pep Guardiola, if we want like all of these top coaches and players, if we want these players and coaches, they're not going to want to come here because they're not even in the Champions League. We're going to be in the Europa League next season. And that is the thing that I don't even think that these players that we have right now can even grasp, but they can't even take in the reality of this club. And I know that you guys are saying, but Kevin, the one thing that matters is that we win the Champions League this season, and it doesn't matter that we don't make it into the top 4 in La Liga. Really? You really think that is the best case scenario for this team? You really think so? Let me tell you guys this. Would you rather win the Champions League this season and not make it in the top 4 of La Liga, or you make it into the top 4 and then just go far into the Champions League this season? Which one would you rather have? Because for me, I would rather make it into the top 4 of La Liga and go far into the Champions League, because you know what that is? That is called a great, strong foundation that you can build on top of. If you don't go into the Champions League next season, there is no foundation. There is nothing, because all you're going to be considered is a Europa League a team. And like what, dude? Like, you're gonna be going to the Europa League next season, and also in the summer we're not gonna be getting the players that we want or the coaches that we want because they simply don't want to come here. And then now you lost both for the next season. Now you lost going to the Champions League, and then you lost competing for the top 4 in La Liga, because teams like Girona, Real Madrid, Atletico Madrid, Athletic Club, Real Sociedad, these teams are going to be getting much stronger. And that is why I do say, who cares about the Champions League this season? I do not care. I'd rather just go far, go maybe in the quarterfinals, semifinals. That's great. Congratulations, because we haven't done that in the past 5 to 6 years. And then make it into the top 4, and then in the next season we start to all over competing in all of the competitions that we actually want to be in. Right? And that is where Deco's frustration comes from. It's because these players don't want to represent us well. Javi Miguel has also stated that no one at the club right now guarantees that Xavi will stay until the season is over. The defeat in the first leg against Napoli, the first leg against Napoli could result in Xavi's immediate dismissal. So in this game against Napoli that will be played next week, which I believe will be on Wednesday, if Barcelona do not win against Napoli on that first leg, there is a high probability that Xavi will not see the next game game. The season will be cut short for him, and that's a shame. It's a true shame. And so there has been other sources also claiming that the possibility of Xavi leaving Barcelona before the end of the season is being thoroughly studied. So they're preparing for the possibility of Xavi just bombing the next one or two games. And they're like, okay, if we do sack Xavi, who are going to be our options? And that is where Hansi Flick does come in. It says here that Hansi Flick is being the most likely, as he offers a long-term vision with being economically feasible. Hansi Flick has already started preparing to take on the Barcelona job. He's like literally squad planning, he's learning Spanish and preparing a coaching team. Although the move is far from being done, as the race for the Barcelona next coach remains open. We also have further information regarding Hansi Flick, and it says here that Barcelona aren't worried about Bayern Munich's interest in Hansi Flick. Barcelona will offer a long-term project to Flick, which they believe will not come from Bayern. Flick has already shown interest in the Barcelona project, so they're not scared about Bayern Munich trying to enter the race and try to bring back Hansi Flick, because Nagelsmann has been doing a terrible job with Bayern. They have literally just lost against Bayer Leverkusen, and so they're not afraid, like with Bayern Munich's like bid or whatever. Barcelona are very much confident that they can bring in Hansi Flick, because even Hansi Flick, he also said that he's excited to work with the players that Barcelona currently have, like Pedri, Gavi, with players like Vitor Roque and all of these other youngsters. He can grow these players. Hansi Flick has the capability to grow these players because he did it with Bayern before. And you know what's funny is that if Hansi Flick comes in for Xavi, after Xavi bombs it within these next 1 to 2 games, it's going to be a very similar situation that he has already encountered. Hansi Flick already came in through like halfway through the season to replace Niko Kovac, who was the coach for Bayern Munich back in 2019. He came in like literally like 5 months or 6 months before the season was going to be over. So Hansi Flick came in, he flipped the team, and he won the Champions League, and he also claimed first place in the Bundesliga. And I believe that is what Joan Laporta and Deco are hoping for, is to bring in Hansi Flick if he does replace Xavi like in about 2 weeks, and then he comes in and flips the team, and we see Barcelona rejuvenated, more alive, more competitive, much more dynamic, more aggressive, more intense, more everything, right? Everything that we don't have right now, we would have with Hansi Flick. As for the other coaches like De Zerbi, it has been said according to Mateo Moreto that securing De Zerbi is close to impossible because Joan Laporta does not have the financial demands, because there's like a 20 million euro compensation that we're gonna have to pay if we do want De Zerbi. And also De Zerbi is eager to stay in the Premier League, so we have to rule that off. It's not going to happen. Right now, there's 2 things that we have to know. Point number 1, Hansi Flick is the number 1 option because he is also the most feasible. And 2, if there is further disappointments regarding Xavi's results with Barcelona, he will be sacked and he will be replaced by Hansi Flick. Now, let's talk about the next conversation. Regardless whether Xavi continues or whether Hansi Flick continues, Barcelona do need a left winger. They need a left winger regardless, and they're gonna have to try and get that in the summer. So whether Xavi stays or Hansi Flick like comes to Barcelona, whoever it is, De Zerbi, I don't care, it's like Tata Martino, whoever, Barcelona do need a left winger, and the one player that they are looking for, it is Rafael Leao. Rafael Leao is a player that Joan Laporta does highly admire. As a matter of fact, bringing in Leao would actually further the project of Hansi Flick, because Hansi Flick depends on having very wide wingers that can stretch the pitch as wide as possible. So he would be the perfect profile to kind of strengthen the project of Hansi. Gerard Romero, about 2 or 3 days ago, did say this: I've spoken to an Italian agent earlier this morning. I have been told that Barcelona is monitoring a winger that plays in the Serie A, and that one player is Rafael Leao. It says here, according to Sport, that Joan Laporta wants to sell players, trust La Masia, and sign one superstar. We have heard this before. We know that Joan Laporta wants to sell a lot of players that Barcelona have. There is a lot of La Masia players that we are betting on, which is Kubarsi, Lamine Yamal, Hector Fort, and many more, Fermin Lopez, and they want to sign one superstar because that's the only thing that Barcelona could do for this specific summer. And one of the options is Rafael Leao. Milan could let him leave for 150 million euros, but may negotiate a lower price. Barcelona think they can make a competitive offer. Now, there's a lot of players that we can sell that can lead towards us bringing in Rafael Leao. Yes, he is greatly expensive, but it is a mandatory player that we need because we need that spark in the attack. We need more like attacking firepower because apparently these players can't do anything. So there is players like Christensen, Marcos Alonso, Sergio Roberto, Ansu Fati, who's on loan at Brighton, that could be sold for about 70 million euros. We have Rafinha, who can be sold for about another 50 million euros or 40 million euros. Lewandowski can also leave for maybe 10, 20 million euros. And then we have Ordo Romeo, who can be sold for maybe 5 to 6 to 7 million euros. This itself, these players itself, right, with the players that I have just named, can amount to 150 million euros. It can, because also there's a possibility that Joan Laporta might say, or Deco, he might say, there's also the the B tier, the players that might leave, but we may not want to sell because they're still great players, which is Koundé and Frankie, two players who have been highly talked about on whether they should be sold in the summer or not. And those are the two players that can bring in the most income out of the A tier list players that I have just talked about, which is Christensen, Alonso, Sergio Roberto, Ansu, Rafinha, Lewandowski, or Oriol Romeo. So it is very much possible. We just don't know who has to be sold first. Now, many have also said, Kevin, come on, are you kidding me? Rafael Leao has not even been good this season. Why would we want to go in for a left winger like him? Why can't we bring in someone like Kylian Mbappe? Now let's talk about that. Rafael Leao has 3 goals and 9 assists. If we look at his heat map here, you can see that yes, he does play in very wide areas on the pitch. He's a very wide player that has a lot of fun going deep and going out wide and going very much forward. If we look at his chances created, his creation, right, on, like creating chances per 90 minutes has been skyrocketing since the 2020-2021 season. He has been getting better, okay? There's a reason why I'm showing you guys this, and I'll show you guys the reason why I'm showing you guys this graph. Look at his assists per 90. It's skyrocketing again, going alongside with the chances created. So he's becoming a great creative player out wide. If we look at his expected threats on passes, he's considered to be in number 2 in the Serie A. Number 2, that is amazing. He is ranked as number 1 in terms of expected threat with his carries. He is the best player that can carry the ball forward and create threats. He's the best one, and that is something that Barcelona do need. So why am I showing you guys this? I'm showing you guys this because he has adapted to the player that AC Milan do need. AC Milan have signed so many great goal scorers that they don't even need Rafael Leao to be scoring a lot of goals. If you command him to score more goals, he will do that for you. But in the system, this is why context matters. In the system that AC Milan have right now, they need Leao as someone who can go on 1v1s, progress play, and be that creative player. Not necessarily always be in positions to score. Now, he does try and score, but there's not enough emphasis on him like it was in the previous season. If you tell him to add more focus on scoring goals, he will do that. But he is a progressor who can do so many great things if he does join Barcelona, when they go on the counterattack, Rafael Leao is your man. He is your man to speed up play and really pound the opposition. He is great. And then we have Lamine Yamal, who can be on the right side to be the one who is an expert in deep blocks, something that we do see a lot in La Liga. So you have someone who is a progressor and someone who knows how to create in tight spaces during deep blocks. 2 players on the wings that have 2 very much like different profiles, Lamine Yamal and Rafael Leao. That is why it makes the most sense to have those 2 different type of players, is because we're going to be able to answer to 2 different scenarios that Barcelona could be in. And right now, Barcelona are weak in both, unfortunately. We cannot gain the ball in deep areas and go on into the counter and attack those spaces, and we cannot deal with the deep blocks. And Lamine Yamal is our only source of attack. So I think that it would be a phenomenal signing. I'm not going to go too into detail on Rafael Leao as of now, but it would be a phenomenal signing that would greatly add an extra arsenal in our weapons. Now, with the other players such as Joshua Kimmich, it has been said that we're going to hear a lot about Joshua Kimmich soon, but as of now, we don't know anything yet. As for Frankie de Jong, a player that has been said that he could leave Barcelona, it says here that Barcelona have submitted a renewal offer for Frankie de Jong, and he must respond within a few weeks. A lot of people are getting nervous because the fact that Frankie has not responded, it basically means that maybe he's assessing the other offers out there that he has been receiving from the Premier League. That is usually what happens. Now, here's the thing that does get everybody nervous. Frankie de Jong, there has been a lot of sources coming out from Barcelona that have said that Frankie de Jong is clear with his idea that he wants to stay at Barcelona, right? But his entourage, especially his agent, Ali Darsoun, wants the player to leave. I don't know if this sounds very familiar with you, right? Dembele. His agent has received 2 offers, and one is from a Premier League club, and from the club side, they want to extend his contract, but he will have to lower his salary in order to extend, meaning that Barcelona, they want to keep him, but if they do keep him, he's going to have to lower his salary. If he says, I don't want to lower my salary, I have to get paid what I have to get paid, and the agent says, yes, he needs to get paid what he needs to get paid, and also give me like 20 million, 30 million euros, whatever, right? Because they're so annoying. Then he's going to have to leave. Unfortunately, this is a very similar story to the one of Dembele. Dembele wanted to stay at Barcelona, but the agent persuaded Dembele and said, look, there's other offers here, and look, you don't have to tell Barcelona that they can lower their salary wage. You don't have to do that. If you don't want to, you can just go to PSG and get paid the same amount that you're currently getting paid at Barcelona, or maybe even more. And the agent was saying, I think that the best route would be to go to PSG because it fits all parties, and that's what Dembele was persuaded, and he left last minute. The same thing could go on with Frankie de Jong, and I hope it does not go on like that, because because we need someone like Frankie. But if Frankie were to leave, that itself, Frankie's sell itself would fund the option of Rafael Leao to come in. And then if Frankie does leave, of course we're gonna have to also try and get a pivot for sure. Whether it's Rodri, whether it's Kimmich, whether it's Zubimendi, we don't know. But as of now, I just don't like the way that these agents have so much power on trying to persuade, like they have so much power over these players, and they make them think that this is the best option, when in reality, if the player wants to stay at a certain club and he believes that his heart is at Barcelona, they should be allowed to stay with no persuasion. But this is the story as of today. That is exactly what is going on with Barcelona as of now. There's high tensions everywhere, and we're gonna have to see how everything does play out in these next 2 or 3 weeks regarding Xavi's position, and also with the players and their futures, which will be definitely taken in the summer. So that is going to be wrapping up today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one.